Hey there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Joe. So, Joe, welcome back.
Hey, nice to be back.
All right, Joe. So, can you tell us your full type again?
Okay, if I can remember it, we got INTJ, double masculine, NIFI, sleep, blast, play, consume.
All right, sweet. And then we're gonna talk about your social type, but you don't know what it is yet, so we'll discuss it as we go along. And I want to start actually this discussion on your journey so far, working on your SF consume last, because this is like the meat of OPS, right? Which is working on your last animal. How has it been going? You practicing that like SF sleep or not
I
sleep?
notice it, that's really what I get out of OPS is just noticing whenever something really happens. And I don't always notice it. Like I get called out by the local OPSers every time I do it. But I notice it more than I used to for sure. It'll come up where I just don't want to go research something. Like it's stupid easy to do. It would take me 5 seconds, and I just resist it with everything inside of me. Um, so when I notice it, I can force myself to go do it. When I don't notice it, well, he can't help that.
So when you do notice it and then you go and do the consume, what does it feel like when you notice it and then now you have to do it?
It feels like work. I have to go do work. It's like going back to work at a restaurant or something. My least favorite jobs that I ever had to do, or doing homework that, you know, just resistance. Every fiber of my being is resisting. Procrastinated as much as possible.
So which one is the more predominant feeling? Is it procrastination to do it or is it resistance to do it?
Um, well, I mean, the procrastination is the instinct to put it off if I don't have to do it right now, or if it's not important enough that I have to do it right now,
Right.
then it's just instantly procrastinated. But then if I noticed it and I'm trying to put myself uh to make I'll do it, then it's just feels like work.
Okay, I'm only asking because I'm still last, so I'm trying to compare my experience with my last animal with your last animal, and
Mhm.
like I'm not resistant to sleeping, but I do procrastinate it. So that's why I was asking you. So is it procrastination or resistance? Because they're different, like different things, right? Like one is like I don't want to do it. Well, the other one is like I'll do it later, you know. So um
Yeah, it's an I don't want to do it type of procrastination for sure. But the procrastination is just the tactic, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I can see the distinction that you're making there. But I don't I would lean more into I don't want to do this, so I'll find a way to avoid it if I'm not forcing myself to do it, kind of a thing.
do you see yourself doing what like the traditional
Sorry.
do you see yourself doing what the traditional consume last person do is you try to consume from the tribe, so you ask the tribe instead to give you the answer that you're looking for instead of like doing it
Oh,
yourself?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I have super consumer friends. Aziz is the prime example. He's like Quint activated on his consumer, whatever, and um, just ask him. Or food on camera.
There you go. uh I'll ask you about that too later because I did notice some pattern with demon consume last also, but I'll ask you about that after.
Okay.
uh so don't you feel helpless that you need to ask the tribe for the information for the consume, or is that something that you don't even think about?
No, I think about it because I'm married. We have to act as a team, get things done for the family's sake. And if you, what's the word? Well, I mean, if you just don't do one of the things, then the other person has to do it. And you're forcing them to do it. Even if they enjoy doing it, they're now obligated to do it. And they know that you're making them do it. And everybody knows that you're making them do it. And it's very bad for marriage in general. It's in any relationship, right? So I definitely notice it and its detriment to in that sense.
So you
Does
feel
that
like
answer your
you're
question?
like being a burden then, essentially, but not
Yeah, you become a burden to someone else for sure.
right. Now my next question about the demon consume is I've noticed that people with demon consume, I've seen like different camps of this. So one pattern I've seen is like demon consume people, they just eat food for fuel, not for like the food itself. It's just like I need to eat because I need to eat, not because like I want to enjoy it. And then there's ones that do eat, but because it's in a demon state, they just eat like the worst possible thing that like really messes them up. And sometimes it's not even about food. Sometimes it's drugs, right? So sometimes it's like demon consuming narcotics, right, or something. So
Interesting.
do you see yourself in any of those camps where that's how it
I
manifests?
went more along the lines of the second one where I resist. I mean, I'm the heaviest I've ever been. It's bad. I'm trying to get a handle back on it actively right now. And it's one of those things where, okay, you sparked a lot of different paths of conversation. So let me see if I can get through I eat the worst things possible for sure because Halloween comes along and I eat all the candy we have in the house for multiple reasons, and I'll just binge eat. I'll just binge eat, and it's a trigger where I can resist it to a point, and if I'm not doing anything and I'm really snacky, it's like this I don't know, voice. It's like that demon on your shoulder. You're like, you could go eat chocolate right now,
Right,
and you can resist it, and you can resist it successfully multiple times. And then that one time you don't resist, it opens the floodgates, and then you're just eating and eating and eating.
right,
Every again, because once you stop eating, you can't do this again for another week.
right.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, there's just eating the worst things. I've never done drugs in my life. Nothing at any point.
No alcohol.
I didn't drink any alcohol until after my first divorce. Like
Gotcha.
it was, I don't know what year would that be. That would be I was married in 2004. I married for 4 years, so it would be 2008 or 9-ish or something like that. And I was born in 1980. So whatever the math is there.
Oh, I see. 1988. So you are 43 then, based on
Yes, I turned 43 actually on the 17th, and today's what, the 22nd. I forget what day it is. On the right face of my watch. There we are, 22nd. Um, yeah, so I just had my birthday, turned 43.
it's interesting because
Very good.
the word demon is correlated to something bad. So when you're eating those candies and stuff, it's like you're actually causing like you're poisoning yourself, right? So it's literally like a consume thing. Uh,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
I mean, yeah, but it's so good. I mean, my FI is all over that. Yeah, just
yeah, and you have an FI too, so it's very like girly, right? So it's like, oh, I want it, or like a kid, like I want it now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure. But at the birthday party, yes. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it's all good, man. Another part of consume is your external self-awareness or external image. So how people see or how you want people to see you. So INTJs and ESFPs are in the same quadrant, just complete opposite. And like if you look at celebrities, a lot of the really good looking ESFP. So they really care about their how they look, how they project their image to the tribe. And what has your experience been like for you in that territory when it comes to like
Ignorant.
ignorance?
Okay, so this blue shirt, I mean, it's the INTJ shirt that I have 7 of, and I wear only this shirt, and it's not actually this. I mean, it's not actually the color at this point. It's a shirt type that I happen to have 10 of or whatever, and I just only wear those, and they cycle through the. It's a. I found somebody complimented me one time on my hairstyle, and I've had the same hairstyle since that day. Somebody I didn't know that I had hair sticking up in the back of my head until, my mom would force me to brush it. I wouldn't pay any attention. I wouldn't care if I would go to school and come back. I wouldn't notice. I didn't, it was just in my blind spot. Like if I noticed it, I would get embarrassed by it, but I didn't even notice it.
Right.
Like, there are things about me that are awkward or off-putting to other people, and I just didn't know, I guess.
Well, you got to represent the INTJs, right? So, yeah. I mean, you if you weren't doing that, then you would be disgracing your people. So
Well, okay, so we have an NIFI group on Facebook. I haven't been there in a while, but the one of us is higher consume, and she was just, dude, just do your season colors this way. Just go to this, buy this, do
yeah,
that. You're fine. Like she was all over it, but yeah, the consume last. I don't know. Carlos, I don't know if he has the same problem. Leon seems to be about the same. I don't know who else is AFI these days. I haven't been checking, but
I
what's
I
the
think
last?
I think Leon got the SF part down
Oh, he
pat.
did.
Yeah, I think he does because like I've known him
He's
for
got the muscles.
yeah because he's
Yeah.
jacked and he doesn't dress poorly either. So so I mean so I think that in that aspect I think the consuming the information part is harder for him than you. Which I'll ask him because I'm interviewing him this week also. So
Awesome. Tell him when you see him.
yeah, I will. Yeah, he lives closer to me now too, actually. Like
Oh wow,
he used to live near you, right? In Texas.
baby. Yeah, he had to drive a bit to see each other, but we met up several times. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So now he lives like within driving distance from me.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I think for him, because like when I spoke to you the first time, you actually told me you read books, like fictional books, and you actually
I
enjoy
do
it.
constantly. Was literally reading one on Audible when you sent me the link to go to this meeting.
Yeah. So it sounds like what you and Leon, because like what I find with with each animal is like there's different dimensions to it, and like just because you're consume last doesn't mean you have the same problem as the other consume last person. That's why I was asking about those different aspects of it. So it sounds like the actual absorbing information is harder for Leon than you are, because you're reading books, right? But then he's more
Right, but if it's outside of fantasy or sci-fi, I have to work to read it. But once I get into it, then it's fine. But it takes a monumental effort to get into anything outside of fantasy.
the point is you're doing it. That's the point I'm getting. Like you are doing it.
Yeah, I am reading fantasy. I'm reading Brandon Sanderson right now. I'm actually in the middle of 4 different series of books that I just keep switching back and forth. Like I've never stopped reading since the last time I told you I was reading.
Yeah, there you go, man. So you are doing it. It's in a narrow box, but you're doing it. So it's so that aspect of it is
That is a super tiny OI box.
I mean you're an IJ, man. So that's how it is.
It's lit RPG fantasy right now, where I can't even step outside of that. I can't read regular fantasy right now. I can only read this tiny section of fantasy that I'm interested in. So there's that.
I mean, I go back that you're still doing it. You're still reading.
Yeah.
So like just the
Yeah.
act of reading trains you to be better at reading. You know what I mean? Like so.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Versus,
mean,
yeah. So go ahead.
I'm not sure what exactly meant by reading makes you better at reading. Say that again. I mean, or what do you mean by that?
Okay, like people who don't read often, or I don't know if this ever happened to you, but like you haven't read in a while, and then you got back to reading, and then even reading a little bit makes you already sleepy. Versus like when you're used to reading, you can read for quite a while without
Okay,
stopping.
yeah.
It's like an endurance thing, right?
Sure. Also, did you sleep last night?
Yeah.
Because you'll still fall asleep. But no, yeah, you're right. Like if I read anything outside of my genre, it'll put me to sleep still. If I read visually, I'm much more likely to fall asleep. But reading Audible helps a lot. I can stand up and do chores and things like that and be active.
Oh, so
So
you're
most
listening to it.
Audible
You're not reading it. You're listening to it.
these days. Before Audible, I was reading regular reading for sure, and I
Oh,
still will read regular if I have to. But you can't do the dishes and read a book at the same time if it's physically if it's that's an annoying aspect of reading that I can't deal with it. I have 3 kids. Like I
fair enough.
can't take that much time out of my day to go read a book. That's ridiculous to even think about.
Is it because they want your attention, or they're causing trouble, or
The 3-year-old needs attention, and you keep the 3-year-old alive. And the you know, if you're not paying attention, if you're in a different room and you hear a crash, I mean, you might have just failed parenthood right there.
Oh, I see. So you need to be
You
surveilling.
need attentiveness. Yeah, for sure. The older kids, much less of a problem. I have an 8 and a 9-year-old along with a 3-year-old, and I mean, they're fine, but they still get into trouble and they still want to fight each other and they still want to, you know, you still have to be a parent and you need to engage in their lives or you're just going to miss their lives entirely. You can't just be off reading a book all day.
Right.
Yeah. But that may be just me preaching against consume.
That or your savior friends.
Or my savior, I'm sorry, what? I didn't
Save your
hear.
friends for social type. Like
Oh, friends. Yeah, so that is a Z's assessment. Is that I am number, what is it, 4?
yeah.
Yeah.
You come across as very four like. I don't know if you're a four or a two because they look very similar. Um, you said that you said definitely not a one. And
Right.
from
I mean, part of that is because we have gray, and I know gray well enough to say, oh, that's a 1.
right.
And I am not that. And there's the contrast for that. I'm not highly engaged with the community right now, so I don't know who all the ones are and all the fours are.
Right.
So what are you? I mean, you're gonna make me guess, aren't you?
Um, I mean, yeah, you can if you want. Like, let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it. It's really fun. Yeah, what
you're
do you think?
super friendly too. You could be a 4. I like I said though, I need a refresher. So can you take me through them real fast?
Yeah, sure. I'll do a quick rundown. And I'll mention the cross checks also. Okay. So
Okay.
so once their savior ego and flex, and they are demon friends, and once also have savior responsibility, which is 2, and they have a minor demon in specialization. So it's not missing, but it's a demon. Um, and the love language for once is words of affirmation first and foremost, followed by acts of service. And their life problem is they get to the top, they get to the finish line, and there's no one waiting for them because they've neglected the tribe, essentially.
You are alone.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
alone, right? So like lonely at the top is like the best description of that, right?
Okay.
And then yeah, you get to the number twos. Number twos is savior. They like to use savior responsibility. I don't like that word. I think the best way to describe number twos really is independence seeking, because that's what the two like. If the ones want status, achievement, winning, and recognition, then twos want independence. So it's a little bit different what the motive is. And that's why number twos are like the manager type or entrepreneur type, because they don't want someone to take control of them. They want to be independent. And then number twos have the hero syndrome, hence the savior friends. So they want to be responsible for everyone and make sure that everyone is okay. So that's where the twos are kicking in. Their love language is acts of service because they get so overwhelmed and burnt out trying to do everything. So when someone comes and helps them out, even with like one task, they're like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." That's like the best thing ever. And they also have savior or love language, because of the savior 4 is quality time. Yeah.
Wait, the savior 4?
Yeah. So if you're 2, your second type is 4.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
2,
2,
4,
4,
and then
1.
3 and 2, 4, 1?
Yeah,
Wait.
it's 2, 4, 1, 3 is the hardest for them.
Okay.
Specialization. Right. And then for the threes, it's they're the specialization people, and they seek routine, and they just want to focus on that one. They're responsible for just a small box. They don't want to be responsible for, like, let's say this is a business or a company, so they don't want to do the finance, the marketing, the operations, the project management. Like they don't want to do all that stuff. They just want to do like one thing, and they're the best at it. That's why, like, if you want to see a doctor and they're a specialist at something, let's say I don't know, like let's say it's like a nose job, right? So like that's all they do their whole life, and they're the best at that. And then so for threes, their other savior is 1, so they have a big ego also, and they like to flex. and they want to be the best at that like small thing, that one thing, like the best person at like nose jobs, for example, or something, right?
Okay.
And then their minor demon is 4, which is friends. So I've seen kind of like with threes, it's kind of like it depends on their animals. So if they have high play, then they're more friendly than the ones with low play, where they're more standoffish. Um, but they can be friendly, but it doesn't mean they care about the friendship. They're just friendly, right? And then their lowest one is 2. So you know, 2s and 3s are opposite, while 1s and 4s are opposite. So for 3s, one of the biggest headache that the tribe might experience with them is the lack of responsibility. For example, the tribe's like, "Hey, can you help us out with this?" And the 3s will be like, they'll either find an excuse, and if they do it, it's very begrudgingly. So they really don't want to do anything else outside of that one specialty. And the love language of the 3 is gifts. They love getting gifts. So you might, like the traditional archetype of like a gold digger, that would be like a 3, right? And like they just want to get.
Okay.
They're not bad people. It's just their love language, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other
Okay.
love language, the second one would be words of affirmation, because they have that savior ego, right?
Okay.
And then last but
4.
not least, you have the 4. So for the 4s, it's friendship first, right? So they're seeking connection and friendship and bond with the tribe. And their second one is specialization. So number 4, sorry. They also like what the 3s are doing. They're given a specific task to do, and they get really good at that one specific task. And their minor demon is 2, which is responsibility. Although the older the 4 get, the more responsible they also become. Because it's kind of like with your animals. Like your first 3, you tend to get pretty good at them. It's always the 4th one that's the hardest, right? And then for the 4, sorry, the hardest one is ego and flex. So they get really triggered by people who's always bragging, flexing. But then they also admire them too. So it's like a double-edged thing, right? That's why 1s and 4s are like best.
Yeah, same with all
ways.
savior demon relationships where the husband and wife are opposites. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a 4. Okay. I was expecting that the second savior for a 4 would have been a 2, because that feels like my second savior. The specializing, but okay, this is one of those things where your personal bias gets really in the way. So I don't know how it connects to the hobbies, like the specialization thing, but I had a lot of hobbies. But the way I would do it is I would get into this one thing and I would dive deep and go for a year, 2 years, 4 years. With piano, I went 12 years or something like that. However many years it took to get to where I wanted to be. And unless somebody like knocked me off the path, like you can't play this game anymore, you can't do this hobby anymore, I would just go down the path on the one thing at a time, I guess. But I mean, that's a lie. I don't know. So I don't know how that fits into specialization. I never felt like I was the best or wanted to be the best in anything. But at the same time, it could be that because that I've been doing my whole life, right? Since small child, I was doing that deep dive thing. However, for the friend thing, it's a no-brainer. I go into a grocery store, I make 3 friends before I leave the place, and it's not even on purpose. I like doing that. It's just it's the Dave is the same way, right? He'll drive past his neighbor and wave out the window of his car. Like that is part of me. I don't know if it's. I just feel the 4 hard. Okay, but then at the 2s, I feel that as well, mostly because of the freedom, where I worked for several different companies, so several different restaurants. I worked in life insurance for 2 years, and it was the worst. It was the most horrible thing because I was locked down by these bosses and these rules in this job. And as soon as I could feasibly do it, or I say feasibly, this is a consume last thing. As soon as I figured out I could do it, I got out from bosses, I got out from anything, and I blazed my own little piano teacher world. As much as I thought I could, which wasn't very high. It got up to like 25 students in Louisiana, and then I burned it to the ground because I met my wife and moved to Texas. got up to 40 students here until about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and met a guy who taught me how to do it better, and it fit my idea of what teaching should be. So I was able to roll into the new system, and now I have 90 students, which is way more freedom than 40 students financially. But the whole point was I could not stomach having another boss. Deep inside of me, I couldn't do it. I needed to go out and be my own thing. I get my own life of work. But okay, so I don't know how far that fits into the two, but that's where I feel the freedom and the responsibility for my family, the responsibility for my friends, that I can feel that, but I'm not good at it. It's like one of those things where I might be peacocking, you know? So it could be that it's the 4-3-2 thing that you say.
Yeah, you're also in your 40s, so it's already, the two is already activated
Things
too.
grow, right?
So yeah.
So like you said, I didn't get to independent business until, again, like 2008 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a tough call. Yeah, it's hard to say. You come across as a 4 to me, like, because if you look at the twos and fours, like twos are obsessed with working. They are obsessed with working.
Well, that's not.
And if you're a two, chances are you've started more than one business before.
And I haven't.
Yeah.
Well,
So
unless you consider this new version a second bit, but not really. I use the motivation of this other guy who has done it all before to pull me along. Like, I'm following his example and doing it how he did it.
okay.
And there's more paths that I can take that he's already blazed, but I'm not blazing these paths.
Right. Yeah, because if you look at Dave, right? Like, he did that airplane thing, right? The radio controlled airplane thing. And then he has OPS, obviously. But then he also does the eBay stuff. So he has like, he's doing multiple different stuff, right?
Yeah.
In
Is
like,
he a two?
he's a Dave said he's a 2, right? And then Shan is a 1, right?
Okay. I can see
So yeah.
that.
Yeah, high flex. So so yeah, so it's hard to say, but I feel like you're a 4, and I can probably put like 70% confidence in that, like just based on talking to you.
I
And
would put 90 into it just because I have 0% in the 1. I have like 30% in the 2. And while you're talking about the 3, I was going down and down and down, like 10% less down. So it's all in the 1. I mean the 4. It's all in the 4. That's
yeah,
the only place left for it to go, you know.
I mean, one of the cross check also is the biggest cross check is actually your life pile. So um piano, it's been 13 plus years, right? um
Teaching piano or being in piano? Because
being
that's
in
two different
piano
things.
being in
I
piano
was in piano when I was 12 years old,
Okay.
and I took a 2-year break.
Okay. And then what about teaching piano? That's like 13 years?
I started in 2000. I think it was 2006, but it might have been as late as 2008.
Oh, okay. What is that, like 15
So
years?
let's say 2008. Yeah,
15 years then? Okay.
a
So
little. Yeah.
yeah, so that's a long time, man, to be in one area without.
Well, I'm not so old, and like so, it's one of those things where I started a family. Once you get locked in with certain responsibilities, you have less flexibility to change things, right? A lot of people get locked in on jobs because of their student debt that they have to pay, or whatever, or a mortgage that they have to pay, so they can't quit the job, or they can't leave a marriage because how would they? That kind of a thing.
I mean, based on you
But at
saying
the same
that,
time, I love my job and I don't intend to leave it, even if I had the choice. So
sure.
yeah.
I mean, that could also be like an IJ mindset also, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like just playing it safe is kind of like an IJ mindset, because maybe
Yeah.
you have some EP friends who maybe they should have stayed in their marriage, or they should have stayed in their job, but they channel changed and they got screwed. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's hard to say unless they're like a number
No,
3.
you're right. You build your tower so big, how can you leave your tower? Like, if this is the life that I built, why would I jump to the bottom again? I'm really high up here. I can't start over is the feeling. Yeah. It's the feeling you get of the IJ feelings.
I think from an EP perspective, how I see it is You personally, I think you're doing it right because your FI is attached to it. Like you love piano, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah. So if you were an EJ, for example, and you were climbing this thing and you're really high up, and then you look down and you're like, ah, shit, I don't like this.
I missed that one. That
Like,
one's
you're like,
probably better.
yeah, you're like, like, shit, I hate my life. I hate it. What am I doing here? So so obviously, if you get to that point, you need to channel change, right? You need to go like build something
Yeah.
tower, or climb another building.
It's so hard to do. Most of the time as an IJ, I don't make that choice. I get forced by life to channel change. Like I get fired or I mean I didn't actually get fired, but it was obvious it was coming, so I would quit and I would have to go find something different to do. Or um opportunity not somewhere that's actually better. Right? Like I'm working somewhere low paying minimum wage and then actually able to go into a management position somewhere else in a different company. Anything other than that, I would just not change. I would just stay steady and push through whatever came my way. Yeah.
It's also
Even if I hate
interesting
it.
what you said earlier, where you kind of did a little bit of hopping on your earlier days before you went all in the piano. Because my girlfriend's also an INTJ jumper like you, and she has the same like fantasy, like to kind of job hop, just for fun. And the way Dave described it is number fours. Their goal when it comes to work, besides, if they do not find a job that they can specialize in, like you did with piano, then their alternative goal is to find a job where they have lots of friends. And they would keep
Yeah.
hopping until they find the right job with lots of friends that they really click with.
That fits perfectly. That's what it's always the people. Like if the people make the job. If you go to a bank and you're working there and you have like three best friends working there, you got a great job, even if you're being paid crap. I mean, yeah, I get that's my sense of jobs in general. Although I work alone, but I get to deal with all of these students, both child students and adult students and the parents of children. And I get to throw the recitals and put them all together in one building, and I do get to interact. But at the same time, I'm sleep first. Like all I want to do is be done working. Like I love doing it while I'm doing it, but I'm just ready for the day to be over at all times. I'm not here to work. I'm here to relax after the work.
Yeah.
Right? That's the best part of the day is laying down in the bed at
Okay.
night.
I think this definitely tells us you're a four because
Okay.
the twos, man, they're done work
They want to work.
and they're working on something else. And it's just like an obsession with working. So what type do you think I am? What social type?
I mean, you're pretty fan. Oh, my son is in the room.
Oh yeah,
Go
it's
ahead and say
fine.
hi, Joey.
You did a Spider-Man thing.
Yeah. All right, Joey.
No, I sit.
All right, we'll close the door.
Um,
All right. So I mean, you're very friendly, obviously, but you're also entrepreneurial on this YouTube channel. Your play is higher than your sleeper. I don't remember your type. I'm sorry. Thank you, Joey. Um,
Do you know what my
so I don't know how
Myers-Briggs
much of
type
this.
is at least?
Huh?
Do you know what my Myers-Briggs type is at least?
I mean, NE, right? Oh, yeah. I don't think Briar's Woods. I never could.
No,
I started.
because you're an INTJ. So what am I?
You're the opposite, right? Are you the ESTJ? I don't remember how that works. ESTP is all. I don't remember. But Annie is in there. I remember that. And I
Dude,
see F.
when I first interviewed you, my channel name was my type.
Was it really?
I'm an
No,
ENFP.
I never
I'm an ENFP.
never consumed that. And by
That's
the
so
way,
funny.
this whole time that you were trying to explain to me 1, 2, 3, and 4, it was an exercise in me trying to consume what you were saying. It was very hard. I got distracted multiple times just looking around and then having to pull back, and I missed several sentences that you said. And so
distracted by me.
yeah, you distracted me a lot. So
Yeah, it's all good, man.
yeah, no, I don't remember. Don't remember.
I'm an ENFP. Play blast.
Yeah. See, I have to take a minute to break that down. So P is for perceive instead of judge. So then the NE is first, and then the FI, NEFI, but you might be a jumper.
I'm a jumper. I'm NETE.
So NETE.
Yeah.
There. That's how long it takes me to break down Myers-Briggs. I don't remember how that fits together. But yeah, okay. So I would guess, I don't know, you are specializing, aren't you?
Yes.
You're not flexing.
Yes.
You're very friendly. I mean,
Yes.
you got the 1, 2, you got the 2, 3, and 4, just like me. It could be anywhere in there. I don't know. So I would just go for 2. Wild guess.
Okay, so I asked Dave and Shan, and you know what they said? You're either
Mm.
4 or 2. We don't know. That's what they said.
I get it.
Yes, I know.
So the only obvious is I'm savior friends. I think I'm leaning towards 2. Because I'm hearing your story about you're done work, you're gonna go home and relax. I'm not
Mhm, and you
relaxing,
don't
man.
get that.
I am working. I finished an 8-hour day job, and I have like another. I have 2 jobs. At one point, I had 2 jobs, 2 different jobs, plus like I'm running like 2 different businesses at one time. And
That's pretty too. Yeah.
yeah, definitely really friendly though. Like I love people, and like you, I I try to make friends everywhere. But man, the obsession with work, it doesn't stop, man. Like, and obsessed with like independence too. It just like I feel like I'm working for work's sake. I think that's what Dave said. Like the twos, they work for work's sake. They're not like
Yeah,
they're
that's
like
not me.
they're like I think what Dave's like. You guys need to stop working. Just stop. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Well, that would be the workaholic stereotype. But I
yes,
mean,
yes.
it would also be like the TE with high play. I mean, they're just gonna work just because it works for everybody for you to work, right? Even if they don't enjoy it,
It's it's it's
maybe.
it's weird, man. I don't know how to explain it. It's just weird. I mean, um, I think for me, I feel like if I'm not working, I'm wasting time. That's how I feel.
I get that. I do get that, but it's sort of a senioritis sort of way, like where you that sensation of I should be studying for an exam right now. I have that sensation. If I give it a week, it goes away and I go back to normal.
Yeah, but you're thinking about it though.
Good.
I mean, you're thinking about it though. So it's so there's like a time frame where you are thinking about it and you cannot function properly because it's in your mind, right? So
Yeah. You
um
feel like you should be doing it. So I may get up and do something different just to feel productive. Also, during COVID, I went insane. Um, I had, I don't remember when you interviewed me last time. When was that? It had to be pre-COVID.
I think it was 3 years ago, or even 4, maybe even 4, 3 or 4 years ago.
Let's say it was 4. During COVID, I had the 2 boys homeschooling, basically doing video school, where I'm the parent at home in the morning. So I was basically sitting in the room with them while they're doing video conference school the whole morning, making sure they're doing the work and things like that. And then right after they get off of school, their mom gets home, and then I start teaching piano, and I'll teach until 8:30 at night, eat dinner, go to bed. But I made the decision to learn how to code. I did it for various. I've always wanted to do it. It's a thing I've always wanted to do. But also, I had external motivation through the fact that I needed to write an app for my business. That it was specialized to me. It would not come from anywhere. Nobody else is going to write this. I had to write it myself. So I took right when COVID hit, I started learning how to code by getting up an hour earlier every morning and attempting to do at least 20 minutes of an online class for the whole year. And sometimes that only amounted to 5 minutes of the class. Sometimes it was a whole hour because I got lucky. And then baby was born in the middle of that year or in September. And I kept doing it. And it was right about that time I actually started writing the app instead of learning about app writing. That was the most work I've ever done in my entire life, was that year. I was highly envious of the people who weren't working, so that was still there. But I was highly motivated to be working from 5 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. nonstop every day for a year. That's never happened again or before or since. I don't know what that was. That just sort of bit me.
Yeah.
But I was driven. And part of that is just the fact that you're on the train. You don't want to jump off the train, kind of like when you're working out, and you're more motivated to work out if you're on a routine versus this is my first day, you know. But it worked. I wrote the app, published it, I use it, and then I stopped. And I have another app I need to write, but I'm going way slower on that because I still have the 3-year-old. I'm waiting for him to go to school before I write that one.
Okay.
So it's so nowadays I kind of lounge around the house with the 3-year-old, make sure he doesn't die, feed him, clothe him, and all that. And then 4 o'clock to 8:30, that's only 4 hours of work a day. That's amazing. I don't have to work much.
Yeah.
And I push through it. I enjoy it while it's happening most of the time, unless there's a trouble student or something like that. And even then, it's more my fault than theirs. OPS has given me so much perspective on life and how personalities can conflict and how I can be the problem, when in the past I would have just blamed them. But I'm only working 4.5 hours and then I'm off and I'm eating dinner and going to bed. Like now my life is way more relaxed and I've removed the stress entirely. I was stressed because I wasn't working on the new app. I was stressed because I wasn't proceeding down some of the paths of business that I have open to me right now, because I hit this 90 student cap. It's not even a cap, but I've hit this 90 and I'm sort of sitting here and I'm not making more forward momentum. And in growth mindset, that's dangerous. Just sort of sit into it, But I need to enjoy the life in front of me. NI doesn't enjoy the life they're having.
Right.
We're in the future, like, and we're terrible at it. We're so bad at making anything happen in the future because there's no sensory happening in the present to make that future happen.
Right.
And that's the life I'm in. So maybe it's because I'm older now and I'm seeing it, and the education is there, the growth mindset. But my growth was actually to stop that and just enjoy the life I'm in before the 3-year-old goes to school, enjoy these 2 years with them. So I stopped everything and forgave myself for all the anxiety I was having over no forward momentum, no app writing, no work. And my life is just amazing right now. Like happiness levels are way high compared to the rest of my life. All of it. OS is a lot of that. But also having built the business that I built and now sitting and enjoying it is also a lot of that too. So I don't know. I got off on a tangent. Right, what were we talking about?
Yeah, no, you didn't. We're on topic, so it's good.
Okay.
It's interesting you had those thoughts during the pandemic though, where like you still rather be relaxing, but you did the right thing, obviously, studying the app and how to build one and
Yeah.
putting the work into it and taking advantage of like that time during the pandemic where you could, get ahead in some area. Like when the pandemic hit, everyone was so happy that they're no longer working. And I was happy that I was no longer working for my employer. But for me, the pandemic was like, now it's time for me to work on my thing, right? Like my yeah. And that's when like because I have 2 YouTube channels, right? And I have a travel blog also. So that's when I went crazy with my travel blog, my travel YouTube channel, and also this YouTube channel. So for me, it's like, you're a fool if you're not like getting ahead right now. All those people relaxing at home playing video games instead of like getting ahead. You guys are idiots. That's what I was thinking in my head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 2 mentality right there, right?
Yeah. But so I could definitely see like the big difference between our mindset. Also, it's funny because I used to have a business coach. He was exactly your type, like sleep, blast, consume, double masculine also. But he was a number one. And for him, he's like, I have no friends, and that's how I like it. He's like, I just want to work, build up my business, and be the best. Like that's literally it. And it was like,
thank you.
He's always wearing like a business suit, and it's like all day he's wearing a business suit, like a blazer, a tie, or some kind of like collar shirt, cranking out business. Dave always makes fun of you guys, saying that you guys have a scam, so he has like a scam that he does, right? And then I actually back checked some of his references that he was claiming as his like reference sources, and they're all bullshit. Because I actually looked back, actually read. I'm like, dude, you said that this reference was saying this, but when I double checked the reference, it didn't even say that. So you pulled so
he can't even imagine that you would have had the uppityness to go consume his background.
I think he
you
read
wouldn't see that coming.
I think he just read the headline, and he assumed the whole article was like this was it, right? The good thing about you guys type though is you guys do get things done. with a blast, double activated blast. So so I think just by the pure act of blasting, you will get way ahead than a lot of people who are not doing it. So
Sure. The high consume. Yeah, but we don't know what we're doing. We didn't consume.
but
We're
you're
just
getting
doing it.
feedback, right? Because like when you blast, you can tweak it after, right?
Yeah. Sometimes. Sometimes you can go overboard and blow something out the water. But yeah.
I think Dave said for you guys, your problems only happen like once every like 10 years or something, but it's really big when it does happen. Like really big, you know.
Yeah, probably. I couldn't. This is the thing. I guess it's my DI coming out. I'm always trying to reflect on my life and how it reflects on what you're saying. But the my tidal waves, yeah. I mean, I can't even list any right now. Like I said, I've been in a highlight part of my life right now. The tidal wave would be the anxiety I was having before, I guess. I don't even know. I haven't been tracking them. That's bad. I should track my tidal waves.
I think luck is also a factor, and I think you've been lucky that piano is not gonna go obsolete anytime in the future. Like it's gonna be like
You're not wrong. But if I'm honest, my passion isn't piano. My passion is tutoring. My passion is getting someone who doesn't know something and breaking it down and getting it across to them in some way. That's where I get the most reward.
okay.
So I do have a student that I take from beginner to advanced, and I've had it come through a couple times, and that'll bring me to tears. Like that makes me feel really good. So that is sort of more like what you're saying, where it's piano specific. The tutoring thing, I mean, like I said, I had all those hobbies. Juggling is the other place I would go if I had to teach someone
Juggling.
something else.
Juggling.
But I have options. I mean, like Carlos does chess, and he's actually considering teaching chess. I hope that goes well. Um, I don't know. I'm sort of losing my track of thought now, but I think the piano being a safe bet. Yes, we got scared whenever YouTube sort of took over with all these buy my package YouTube videos and learn piano and all that, but it doesn't equate to having a teacher, and everybody knows that. AI is probably not going to replace us either. Um, but it's oh well, AI, that was a tidal wave from hell. That was terrifying when OpenAI came out at the beginning. I had some existential crises going on there, but
Why?
I feel better about it now.
What okay,
Like
what's
it
so,
was
I don't understand why people freak out about AI. What's so scary about it? Can you tell me? I really don't
sure.
understand.
I mean, the doomsday scenarios are simple in the fact, well, it's the whole concept of have a species that's slightly smarter than you, and on an average, they will overcome you. Like it's
Like Skynet?
human versus apes kind of a thing.
Like
We
Terminator?
will overcome the apes. Terminator, yeah, not necessarily Terminator,
Like
just in
Matrix?
general. That's not where my brain goes with it. It just goes into sort of if an AI gets it in its mind to kill us all, they will be able to. If it's the what do you call it? AI. If it's like an AI intelligence, general intelligence, then yeah, they will kill us if they want to. But they have to get to that point first, and it gets where I get scared is where we start building to that point, and we're getting YouTube videos out of it, and they feed you right with the algorithm. You're getting the actual videos that are scaring you, get handed to you every day, and then you're like, it's building, they're growing, they're getting to the point where they're going to kill us all. And it's not that they will kill us all, it's that it's a possibility, and it just becomes really scary. But like I said, I'm over it right now. I'm not scared of AI. I don't even think we're getting AGI anytime soon, although who knows, it might already exist. And then if it does, it's like Dave said, there's always, like, if the world blows up, even if a meteor hits us, like, we've got the bunker people, like the species is gonna continue somehow. Like, as a species, we're mostly safe.
Yeah.
I've heard Dave say that before, and it actually does give me comfort to think about that way. Um, though I'd like to survive, I have to die. Like it's just something that has to happen. So if an AI kills me, that's actually kind of a cool way to go, I guess. I play these mental gymnastics with it to just sort of get the anxiety out of it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I can see the Force getting killed by the AI first because they're trying to save their family, right? So they'll
The Force getting killed first.
yeah, I have like a killer robot here. You're gonna try to like get your kids to safety, and if you would need to buy time, I can see you like
Behind.
going out there to like sacrifice yourself to buy time for the kids to get away. So while the one is like, I'm too important to die. You Force will die for me, right? You know?
If the economy comes down, I have no illusions that I'll be one of the survivors. Piano lessons, I've experienced the fragility of piano lessons. When I taught in Louisiana, we had a hurricane hit and it hit Cameron Parish and it just wiped houses off their foundations. And some of those were my students. So I lost, I don't remember exactly, but it was something like 75% of my students overnight. And not all of them were from Cameron Parish. Like a lot of them were just like, look, we need to put our money elsewhere right now. And so it just became sort of piano is one of those on the pyramid of necessities. We're in danger.
Right.
We're not a top priority sort of a thing. So it is, if the economy falls, my business is gone and I have not saved up enough food to last the year or anything like that. Like I don't have a go bag. Dave thought I would when he first met me, but I don't. And I would go to the grocery store, there'd be nothing there, and I'd be like, well, I'm done.
That's funny.
I have no recourse in the danger of apocalypse. Although I do think about it occasionally. I also am too lazy to actually do it because the likeliness of it is very low.
Yeah, and you're trying to preserve your energy. So
right.
Yeah.
For when I'm like at 2 a.m. That's when I need my energy.
Yeah. What a weird time for it to come out.
Oh no, you froze. Are you there? Yeah, there you go. Okay.
All right, Joe. We'll wrap up the interview here. So I'd just like to say thanks for coming out and sharing more, giving us an update on where you're at since starting the journey here, since getting your type.
Of course. I'm happy to do it anytime you want. I realize the socials sort of gave you new blood to go after us older
100%,
folks.
That's right.
I don't see a lot of the OPS community, but I still love you all, guys. Like you guys are amazing. You're a big part of my life. I'm just too lazy to go on Facebook or onto the OPS. So yeah, great. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, take care.